Hello, everybody, and I am recording my 2026 Oscars debrief video, the Oscars recap video. And this video is late. I acknowledge that. The Oscars happened about a week ago. And I'd like to say that it's late because I really needed that time to sort through my thoughts on the Oscar winners, but that's not true at all. So I'm going to get personal for a second. I hope you don't mind. You may remember 2 years ago, the Oppenheimer year, I didn't finish my prediction videos because I was basically dealing with some depression at the time. And I felt burnt out, and I think the videos that I did felt very, very low energy. And I felt really bad about it, but I just couldn't power through and do the videos anymore. And then last year, even though I had a reason to be depressed, I think I was pouring so much of myself into the Oscar season to ignore the rest of the world. And I think I was a lot more active that year. And this year, it's not necessarily that I was depressed, but I was extremely busy because I was taking on a very big undertaking in my personal life. I was directing a play for the first time, and that took up so much of my energy, and that had to become my number one priority. So this channel did unfortunately take a backseat to that, and I was feeling exhausted by the workload. I made sure to always record the Oscar prediction videos, but I wasn't able to do anything more than that. There were other videos that I wanted to do for the Oscar season that I just didn't have the time or energy to do, and that really sucks. And now at this point, the show is over, but I'm feeling sort of a post-show depression, and as well as a post-Oscar depression. So there's multiple things. So I'm just tired, and I've been tired all week. And I was going to make this video more elaborate, like you saw last year, where I'm ranking all of the Oscar winners in a tier list, and I was going to do something like that, but I ultimately just A, didn't have the energy, and B, I wasn't sure, because the whole point of that video is like, oh, which of these wins are the most deserving, and that's so subjective, and some of these win placements might be a bit controversial, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into that right now. So I'm going to record a much simpler video breaking down my thoughts on the Oscar winners and my thoughts on the Oscar season as a whole. And yeah, sorry for the long tangent, but I just wanted to explain why I do love the Oscars and I do love this channel, but it's unfortunate that my heart wasn't in it as much as it could be. The show was a great success, by the way, in case you were wondering. But yeah, that did take so much out of me. So the Oscar ceremony itself, I thought for the most part went off really well. This was a really well done ceremony. I think Conan O'Brien absolutely killed it as host. There were some great jokes, some political jokes, some movie-related jokes that were all great. Good comedy bits, good banters with the presenters. The in memoriam section, I think we knew going in that this in memoriam section was going to be brutal, and I think it was a smart idea to do it in the middle of the show as opposed to near the end, because when it's near the end, you're like, oh god, wrap it up already. But they knew that this had to be special because we've lost so many titans of the industry, and everything about that was just so perfectly done. Yeah, I do wish we got more musical performances, but most of the show was done pretty well. I think the only logistical issue that I had was the speeches. A lot of the speeches were cut short, notably the K-pop Demon Hunters golden speech was cut short. That's a very unfortunate moment. Outside of that, I did enjoy this show a lot, and I think some very deserving winners won. So let me just break down what won. Let me just break down my thoughts on the winners. So starting with Best Documentary Short, this is the short category that I did not watch any of the nominees, but I did get it right. I said All the Empty Rooms. Everybody said that was the most powerful one and that Netflix was really pushing it, so it won. Not a huge surprise there. I say it's probably a deserving win, even though I don't know for sure. The general consensus is, okay, that's a good, solid win. Animated Short, where I had seen all of the nominees, I got it wrong. So let that be a lesson. It really doesn't matter whether you see the shorts or not. To be fair, I did have The Girl Who Cried Pearls ranked at number 2. I did say that was the most impressive animation. I think I'm starting to realize with the short categories is that a big factor of which short wins is which one feels the most cinematic, which one has the most impressive production value, which one is the longest, often that can help, which one feels like it could easily be expanded into a feature film. And I think that really helped The Girl Who Cried Pearls, even though I don't think it was the best of the shorts, and I think Butterfly would have made a stronger winner. It's not necessarily the worst winner, and I respect it for the animation. Then we get to Best Live Action Short. Now, this is funny, because one video that I considered making last year is the anomaly of the Oscar ties, how there have only been 6 of them, and how every Oscar ceremony now I'm like, what if this is the year we get another tie? Well, we got another tie, and it was kind of anticlimactic and unexciting, because the winners were 2 people exchanging saliva and the singers. And I'm pretty sure the general consensus is 2 people exchanging saliva is the better short of the 2 and the deserving winner. I mean, the singers really did nothing for me. It was very simple. I didn't really have much of an effect. And part of me wonders if Netflix just really paid out to win that category. It didn't feel like a super deserving winner to me personally. And here's the thing. Ties are so exceptionally rare. This is only the 7th tie in Oscar history. And I feel like when a tie happens, it should feel special. It should feel like, oh yeah, those 2 winners are both so strong, I can't imagine picking between the 2. Like, last year for animated feature, if Flo and The Wild Robot had tied, that would have felt right. The year before that, if Poor Things and Barbie had tied for production design, that would have felt right. This year, if there had somehow been a tie and Sinners and One Battle had both won Best Picture, that really would have felt right. But these ties are so very rare, and you wasted a tie to give the singers an Oscar. The singers, I'm not personally a fan of that. I feel like it was a waste of a tie. And that is, I did like the way Kumail Nanjiani handled it. I did like his ad-lib of ironic that the short film category is going to take twice as long. But yeah, it's just not, I feel like a tie should feel more special than this. And it's not that I don't care about the live action shorts, but I would not rank this very high in the tier ranking video of the Oscar winners. Best Documentary Feature. This ended up going to Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and this was a surprise. I predicted... what did I predict? I predicted The Perfect Neighbor. I'm sorry, again, it's late as I'm recording this, but... So I got 6 categories wrong, which is the same as last year. Technically, we have one more category this year, so my ranking went from 17 out of 24 to 18 out of 24. And last year, I arguably did better because 3 of the categories I got wrong were the short film categories, and I only got 3 non-short film categories wrong. This year, I only got 1 short wrong. I'm counting the tie as me getting it right because technically 2 people exchanging saliva did win. But I feel like I got a lot more bigger categories wrong. And one of the categories I got wrong was documentary feature. It feels kind of weird. I feel like in most normal years, The Perfect Neighbor would get snubbed for the Oscar, and then Mr. Nobody Against Putin would go on to win. I feel like they just forgot to snub The Perfect Neighbor. They still nominated it, and that was the popular crowd-pleasing choice. And so it's a bit surprising that the Academy as a whole didn't go for it. Once I heard that speech, it did make a little more sense. And Mr. Nobody Against Putin is a very good documentary. It's not a bad winner in this category, but it does feel kind of same old because we've given it to Putin, Ukraine documentaries before. Again, an important thing to raise awareness of, so I do understand it, but I still would have preferred The Perfect Neighbor in this category, just me personally. But I don't necessarily hate Mr. Nobody Against Putin as a winner. So, next up, international feature. This was another category that I got wrong. I did go for The Secret Agent, and in hindsight, it does make sense that Sentimental Value would win. but I was really, really feeling the groundswell of support for Secret Agent, and I thought that the film's fascist themes would help, much like with Mr. Nobody against Putin, but they did go for sentimental value. I feel like it must have been close, and that's a deserving win. I'm glad that the movie won something, but not much. I don't have much else to say on that category. Animated feature was obviously K-pop Demon Hunters, which we knew was going to happen. It's not one of the stronger winners in this category's history, but the competition was so weak that I'm fine with it. Then we have Best Casting. Now, this is interesting because this is the first year that this category has ever existed, so we had no precedent of what to expect. And yet, we were all so confident that it was going to be Sinners. We kept saying all year, oh, well, Sinners has the best ensemble, it's winning all the ensemble prizes, and Francine Maisler is a legend, so it just makes sense for it to be Sinners. And then it was One Battle. And it is weird that we were all so confident. But this is going to be really, really interesting now going forward predicting this category, because we have 1 year of precedent for this category now, and in that 1 year, the nominees were 5 Best Picture nominees, and the winner was the Best Picture winner. So is this just going to be a category where we default to what's in Best Picture every single time? I don't know. I hope not. But when I do my year in advance predictions, which are coming up soon, I am probably going to default to the top Best Picture choices because that's what this category this year has taught me. Again, solid winner, I think because of the Chase Infinity thing mainly. But I do think Sinners would have made a really, really inspired choice too. So hard to know how to feel about this one. Best Sound, F1, Cars Go Vroom Vroom. Totally fine with this. No problem with this winning whatsoever. Song, Golden. I Lied to You would have been okay, but I do really, really respect Golden, and that song became such a phenomenon that it makes total sense that it won. Deserving winner, and great performances of both of the nominated songs. As I said before, though, the speech getting cut off was really unfortunate, but I do believe this was a deserving winner. And then Best Original Score, Sinners. Ludwig Göransson has 3 Oscars now. Crazy. He might win a 4th for The Odyssey, we will see, but this guy is just gonna become an absolute legend. If he isn't already, he's just gonna get in again and again and again, and he's got so many great scores ahead of him, and he's a very, very talented, so it's hard to get upset. Visual effects was Avatar, no duh. Interesting that Sigourney Weaver got emotional when reading out because we all kind of knew it was going to be Avatar. Then we have the trifecta of makeup, costumes, and production design. All 3 went to Frankenstein as expected. And again, hard to get upset over any of them. Even as somebody who didn't really enjoy Frankenstein as a movie, those 3 craft elements, I have to admit, were well done. And if I were an Oscar voter, I would vote for Frankenstein for costumes. Production design, I would probably go Sinners. Makeup, it's very close. I think I would give the slight edge to The Ugly Stepsister. But again, Frankenstein winning in these 3 categories makes total sense, and it's hard to get upset about it. So I did see in a lot of the anonymous Oscar ballots, people like, oh, I really didn't like Frankenstein, but it's hard to deny the crafts. So, yeah, this makes sense. Cinematography went to Sinners. This was a surprise. Most people were predicting One Battle, and I was one of the few who was going out for Train Dreams. In hindsight, that was probably a bad choice. But if I had changed my prediction, it would have been to One Battle, and I would have gotten it wrong either way. Now, the Sinners win, I'm mixed on it, because the movie, as I've said, I love this movie. Every time I go back to watch it, I'm like, this movie has one flaw, and it's the lighting. It's too dark. I can't make out a lot of what's happening on screen. And so because of that, I wouldn't have voted for Sinners in this category, but it's hard to get mad at the first female winner in the history of the category. It's really hard to get mad at that. And it turns out cinematography was the last non-gendered category that hadn't had a female winner up until that point. And now we have a female winner for cinematography and a female winner in casting for the first time in that category's history. We have not had a male winner for casting yet, so that's the next barrier to be broken. But yeah, hard to get upset at history being made, so I'm not going to begrudge this win, even though I wouldn't have voted for Sinners in this category. Film editing, One Battle, obviously, no complaints there. Although it is interesting that 4 of the past consecutive winners have all been Best Picture winners. And 3 of those make sense. Everything Everywhere, Oppenheimer, and One Battle are films where the editing is so crucial to that movie working. Anora is kind of the weird choice, but there wasn't really a more obvious, showy editing film in that category, so it kind of makes sense. I wonder if editing is going to be a really, really important bellwether for Best Picture going forward as well. The screenplay categories were obvious. Original screenplay, Sinners. Adapted screenplay, One Battle. No complaints with those. And now we come to the acting categories. And I'm going to start with supporting actor, because supporting actor went to Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, and he was not there. And this one is tricky because I do think objectively Sean Penn gave the best performance in the category, and I think it's a very, very good performance. I think it's going to hold up as a win very, very well over time. But it is kind of tricky. It's kind of hard to feel good about this win because Sean Penn so clearly does not give a crap about winning a 3rd Oscar. And it could have been a great moment for Delroy Lindo or Stellan Skarsgård. Even Jacob Elordi, though he's so young, he clearly it would have meant a lot to him. This Oscar does not mean anything to Sean Penn. And, I mean, that shouldn't be the factors that we consider. A really, really good performance. I do think it feels weird now. But give it time, I think more people will be accepting of this win. Like, just take away one of Sean Penn's earlier wins. His first win for Mystic River, give that to Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I think everybody's happy. But yeah, I wouldn't take away this win personally. A win that I would take away, Best Supporting Actress, Amy Madigan for Weapons. Let me tell you, when they opened the ceremony with Conan O'Brien fully decked up as Aunt Gladys, doing the whole Weapons bit, I got really, really nervous. And then as they were announcing the nominees for supporting actress and they showed the Amy Madigan clip and people clapped, I was like, it's gonna be her, isn't it? It's gonna be her. And it was her. And I'm gonna be very upfront. I've talked before about my thoughts on Madigan's performance. I have since gone back and watched clips of Madigan in the movie, and I don't necessarily think the performance is the problem. I've talked before about this being a very over-the-top performance, but I think that's a Mandela effect, because the acting itself is not that big. It's not that over-the-top. It's just the makeup and the costume that is big and over-the-top. And what really bothers me about that movie is Weapons is a film that starts off asking the audience to take it seriously. There's this really intriguing hook of these children that have gone missing and this town trying to pick up the pieces. And it's framed as this metaphor for school shootings. At least that's the way Zach Cregger wants you to perceive it. But as the film goes on, it does kind of drop that metaphor and it becomes this really wacky, kooky film once this crazy character, Gladys, enters. And as people have pointed out, there is no possible way that the police would not have figured out what was going on because Gladys is so incredibly obvious as a villain. And I point this out and people are like, oh, it's just a movie, don't take it too seriously. The movie itself was taking itself seriously until it got to that moment. And it gets to the end and it's like the movie is mocking you for taking it seriously. It's like Zach Cregger wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants people to applaud him for making a movie that's a metaphor about mass shootings, but he doesn't want to actually put in the work of having it be a metaphor about school shootings. And that is such a serious topic that I take very seriously. So yeah, the movie did not work for me. And I don't think it's necessarily Madigan's fault. I'm just not a fan of this win. I'm not a fan of the character or the film. And I do think that either Tiana Taylor or Wunmi Mosaku would have made a stronger winner. I'm very curious how this win is going to hold up over history. If people are going to be like, man, Aunt Gladys, that's such a memorable character. I'm glad she won. Or if people are going to be like, yeah, she probably shouldn't have won for that. I think we just got a little bit too excited. So how this win is going to age over time, I don't know. But I've made my peace with it. I've shared my thoughts on the film, and hopefully I don't get too much negative pushback from this. Best Actor in a Leading Role went to Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. And this, I did predict it, but it is crazy that we got here. It's crazy to think that there was a time way back early in the year when I was predicting Sinners to win Best Picture and Best Director, but I did not have Michael B. Jordan getting nominated. I mean, this might be a slightly controversial hot take as well, but I, for the longest time, didn't really see that much of a difference between the two characters, and I didn't really feel like he was doing enough to differentiate them. And to be fair, that might be because some of the more subtle moments of facial acting are kind of obscured by the dark shadows. I love Sinners, but these are issues that I have. And, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to get so much hate for this. I will say, he is good in the film. And it's a solid win. I would have voted for Timothée Chalamet. I do think the more time that passes, the more people are going to look back on Marty Supreme and be like, okay, that should have been Chalamet's Oscar. Because he is incredible in the film. And a lot of people in the lead up to the Oscars were saying he ruined his Oscar chances by making those comments about ballet and opera. But that story did not go viral until after voting closed. And so I was very, very nervous that it was going to be Chalamet. Jordan makes sense. I do think Jordan is a strong performance, solid win. It's nice that Sinners got one really big win because it went on to lose Best Picture. Yeah, I don't want to offend too many people. I do think Chalamet is giving the better performance, but Jordan is good. Jordan is a solid performance. I'm not going to be too mad at it. And then, of course, Best Picture and Best Director went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. Now, I think most people are okay with this. There are obviously some people on film Twitter being like, I can't believe Sinners was snubbed. I can't believe the Academy hated Sinners. And let's back up a little bit. Sinners got the most nominations of any movie in history. It won 4 Oscars, including Above the Line. It's pretty obvious that Sinners was the runner-up for Best Picture. Like, it's like when somebody wins a silver medal in the Olympics and people are like, oh, if only they had trained harder. And it's like, dude, a silver medal is still a really, really, really impressive accomplishment. It's better than any of us can do. Sinners got really, really, really far. And just because one movie is ahead of it, that does not diminish its accomplishment. And One Battle After Another is a really, really good movie, you guys. Remember a year ago how there was a moment when we all thought that Emilia Perez might win Best Picture? We are so far removed from that, yes, I do like Sinners. I probably would have voted for Sinners over One Battle, but I don't mind One Battle as a Best Picture winner at all. I do think One Battle is going to hold up pretty well. And so, yeah, when I walk away from this Oscar season, we got mostly some pretty good winners. There are a few winners that I take issue with, but I do think the Academy is moving in the right direction. I like the ceremony as a whole. And yeah, what I will say, just to close this out, there are other Oscar-related videos that I considered doing and probably am not going to have. Well, even if I did have the energy to make them, I don't know if you'd have the energy to see them because that Oscar season has passed. Like, I was going to do another shorts video where I match up the Oscar-nominated shorts with the Oscar-nominated features. I don't know if that's something that anyone would be interested in. I have done the math on that, but haven't recorded it. Also, whereas last year I did a Hunger Games sim with Oscar-nominated characters, this year I thought about doing a Survivor sim with Oscar-nominated characters. And that was a process that I started, but did not finish, unfortunately. And if that is something that anyone wants to see, let me know, and I will make that video. But I do kind of feel like people complain that Oscar seasons are so long, and yeah, I think a lot of people just want to move on from the season already. So, and I am working on my year in advance predictions, and that's going to be out shortly. So I probably won't return to this year. But as I said in the previous year's video, Oscar seasons never truly die. People are always looking back and analyzing what should have won, what deserved to win. And so we will be having the conversation about should Sinners have beaten One Battle for a long time. And I'm just very, very grateful that we got 2 incredibly strong movies in those top 2 positions for Best Picture. But yeah, thank you so much for following me. I'm going to try to post more content on this channel, but I also have been doing a lot of crazy stuff in my personal life, doing a lot of shows and doing a lot of work. So it's going to be hard, but I am not giving up on this channel anytime soon. Don't worry about that. I feel like I had one more thing to say, but I'm forgetting it. Well, I paused, I thought it over, and I can't remember what I was going to say, so hopefully it wasn't important. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you next time. Take care.